Hej allihopa, hello everyone. I prepared in English, so I will keep it in English. I hope everyone can hear me online as well. So today was actually Jan Peter was supposed to speak, but we were gonna have it in the park, and so I called Jan Peter and we concluded that maybe it's better to wait with Jan Peter's service and I'll give a short sermon in the park. But then last minute we decided to do it in the local, so I had to change my sermon a little bit. So I hope it is all right. Today I'm gonna speak about change, and in my line of work we work with change every day. So what we do is that we go to a team, or they come to us and they say we want to change the process, we want to improve this is not working. So we go to them and we help them. And so when we do this, we need some sort of, we can't just be like, oh, this sounds good. I feel like this is good. No, we actually have a sort of a formula to make a positive change, to help someone make a change. And so when I was thinking about what sermon I was going to give, I was thinking, okay, what has had the biggest impact on me this year? What's been the coolest thing that I've learned this year? And it is this model. It's not something revolutionizing, it's quite obvious, but just having the understanding of what it takes to make a change is very good. And not being an expert, you don't need to be an expert, just knowing that some things are needed for people to progress in their change. So I'm actually going to use the whiteboard here for a second. I'll step back whenever I need to speak so people online can hear me. So this is what we wish a change process to look like. So this is our current step. And this is and this is the change step. So put CH here. And this is the result we want. So we are here, we want to get here. And to get there, we have to go through this change step. And in our minds, it's easy. Something's not working, we need to improve something. We go through this step and we have a great result. But in reality, often, a change happens like this. Online, can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. So here's the current state. I hope you can see the pen is not so great. Here's the change. And here is the change step.
Yes.
And if this is a full, very nice box, and this is a full, very nice box, and this is a full, very nice box, representing that it's complete, it's good. This step looks a bit like this, where maybe it's not so clear what the change needs to be, that it's not completely good, and it takes much longer than we think. And this is the result. Sort of like a Swiss cheese, where we think it's going to be this result is going to be all good, but in fact it's not. It has all these holes, and maybe people aren't really applying the change as it is expected. So we want to get here, and with an understanding, some sort of module, we can actually have this simple process. And that is the introduction to today's sermon. And when we talk about this at work, we always encourage people to ask questions. Because if we don't understand, then we need to ask. So if anyone online has a question, please write it in the chat. And Jeanette will bring it up to me. And in here also, please ask questions. If you don't understand something, probably the case is that more people in here don't understand also. The model, yes, Mikael.
Why is it less than 3?
The last, the heart, picture before. Change is less than 3.
No, that's a heart.
A heart?
So Mikael asked here in the service, why is, because you know it's the crocodile mouth, so one might look at this and see that 3 is bigger than a change. No, this is change and a heart, so it's an artistic change.
Oh, now I see.
So if you have to turn your head and then you see the heart.
I thought it was the ice cream cone.
David Freeland has a question.
David, what's your question, David? I'll read the question here. How long do you give a change period before deciding you need to evaluate again for another change? 90 days? No, so it really depends on... did you all understand the question? It's basically, is there like a set frame for changes, basically? 90 days, what's the time frame? When you're ready for a change? So there can be all kinds of changes. Let's say we buy a dishwasher at home. Then maybe that's not a huge change. But some people are like, but I don't understand how to put this dishwasher on. I'm just going to leave my dishes in the sink. And then my mom will go and put it in the dishwasher. Or I don't know where to place things after the dishwasher's done. This is all things that happen in my life personally. I don't know where to put things, so I just put it on the dish rack. So a change is sometimes needed, and it's not always a huge change. In organizations, it's sometimes more bigger changes, but in our daily lives, that's what we're talking about today. I hope that clarifies the question and the answer. So this is the ADKAR model. It has 5 steps, 5 letters, and those consist of awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and reinforcements. And it is important that when we go through a change that we respect each step, because we can't jump a step. Because you will see that if you jump a step, the change will be difficult. We will start with awareness. So change begins with awareness, understanding why. It is a question we start asking already when we're 2 years old. Why? And there are some factors that affect this awareness stage. Because if we want to make a change, we need to understand why we make the change. That can be something is not working. Then we explain to this person why something is not working. We explain the consequences maybe of why something is not working. And we explain the benefits. So factors to make this step of awareness easier is a person's view of the current state. So let's say we have a situation at home, and I already think the situation is unbearable and it's terrible and it needs a change. When I have that state of mind, then any change is going to be easier to accept. The credibility of the sender. So let's say I go to Peter and I tell him, Peter, we need to make this spiritual change in our community. He's going to be like, okay, but you barely pray. But if Ingmarie comes to Peter, who is more credible in this regard, it will be easier for Peter to accept. And then the contestability of the reason for change. And this one is difficult. Because let's say I have all these great reasons for why the change is needed, but for the person, they might have other reasons not to make the change. So these factors in understanding awareness. And people often mix up the awareness of that a change is coming and the awareness that a change is needed. So just because I tell Peter that the change is coming, we're making this change in a week, so you're ready for it, right?
Yes.
No, you're not ready for it. It's not the same as understanding why we need to make the change. The second step is desire, to support and to participate in the change. This is the personal decision to get on board with a change. It is like when we stand still and we want to take a step forward. Actually, taking the step forward is our own desire, our own motivation. And so factors that help with the desire, and remember, we can't put motivation in another person. We can't create motivation in a person. But using these factors, we can encourage desire. So let's say Tim wants to, or I want Tim to make a change. Then maybe it's good for me to explain why this change benefits Tim. Another factor is understanding the individual situation. Maybe Tim has a very hard time at work, or at home, or in his chess club. Who knows? We need to understand Tim's situation to really build this desire. And what motivates this person? And motivation is something so personal that we really need to understand, does this person want compliments? Does this person want money? What does this person want? What drives this person? And so a good example is this sign. This is a sign that encourages people to use belts. And all these belts, they result in the same change, but getting there is different. One of the signs says, buckle up, it could save your life. So what's in it for you? You can save your life. Buckle up, it's the law. Maybe for you, being rigorous and following the rules as like a very integrous person is maybe more important for you. Or buckle up, click it, because otherwise you'll get a fine. All resulting in the same thing, but not the same way of getting there. And getting desire is impossible if people don't understand why. See, first step, second step needs to come in order. The third step is knowledge of how to change. What do I need to know before, during, and after the change? Knowledge needs context. It is important. However, it must come after awareness and desire. Some factors for knowledge is your current knowledge impacts how you need to learn. Every change has a learning gap. Some people have bigger gaps and some people have smaller gaps. That means that if I'm gonna start, I wanna bake this amazing bread that I saw online, then for me, it's gonna be much more difficult than for my mom. Because she bakes all the time. She can have a look at the recipe and go, okay, I understand it, I can do it. Well, I need to follow this recipe step by step. Your learning style and capability. Some people have a very easy time learning something specific. Some people have a very easy time learning math. Or maybe some people learn social cues very easily. And some people need a specific way of learning things. And this needs to be accounted for. Your learning style and capability. And then we have time and energy. When learning something new, one needs to be aware of the time and energy one can spend on learning something new. Maybe the patience that is required from one person to another. Let's say Yulin is teaching me how to play guitar. Then for him it was so easy. He got it. And then like the rhythm, yes, he got it. But for me, I need to really, it's so difficult, you know? Because for him, it might be so easy. And so if Johan is teaching me, he needs the patience to understand, to come down to my knowledge gap, to my understanding. For the person that holds a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And this is a really good one. And if you can't see the picture clearly, it's a hammer and it's a screw. And the screw says, wait hammer, no. And the hammer says, quiet nail. And just because for me it's easy to learn something, for me it's so obvious, doesn't mean it's obvious for other people. Oj, här gick det snabbt. Sorry, that was. And things aren't always as easy as they seem. And I think most of us have learned this the hard way. That they wanted to help a person and they lost their patience. That's my case. Where I thought, come on, this is so easy. Can you just, I've explained this a million times. Why don't you understand? I mean, we've all been in that situation. We look at people and we go, unbelievable, this person, man. I mean, normally you're smart, but right now, not at all. Does anyone have any questions?
There's a lot of information to take in.
Yeah, if it goes too fast, also tell me to stop. Like when we do this at work, like this is an interactive experience for everyone. So they ask us, they stop us, and that's okay. So it's encouraged.
Den har samband med Foucault som pratar om makt. Hammaren har makt. Och han säger den som har makt först och sist. Det behövs skruvmejsel för att. Men hammaren vill användas och visa sin makt. Trots att det fungerar bättre med en skruvmejsel med den.
So I'll repeat. So here in the audience we got that as Foucault, I think that Michel Foucault, he said that basically the person with the hammer or the hammer is the person in power, which is absolutely correct because that's the person who's teaching something in this case. And so just because you have the power and that's because you're sitting on the knowledge, you actually need to be the person to understand the screw in this case. Because the screw can't adapt. Maybe you need to get a screwdriver instead of using a hammer. So good point, thank you. The next step is ability to implement required skills and behaviors. So this is actually doing the change, learning how to do it in person. So I'm following my diet. I'm eating only broccoli and chicken. I'm using the new dishwasher that we installed at home last month. I'm actually doing it. And when it comes to ability, the ability to do something, there are factors here also that we need to think about. That let's say someone wants to become a policeman here. There might be physiological or physical capabilities or blocks. That means that a person who has problems with their legs, knees, or maybe trauma, they can't become a fireman or policeman. It's just they're not capable of doing it. We have the force of habit. Sometimes it's easier for us because our habit is already set in place that this change, it comes natural to me. This is barely a change, so I do it. And again, time and energy. Do I have time to actually practice this change? When I come home from work, to have the energy to do it. I've been working 8 hours. I don't want to learn how to do this dishwasher. I know how to do the dishes. I'll just do the dishes real quick. And so what's important in this step is that knowledge, and this is often some feedback we get, knowledge does not equal ability. Just because you have an understanding of something, your knowledge gap might be this big, does not mean you actually can do it. For example, I have been trying to learn how to make poached eggs for many, many years, because Eggs Benedict is my favorite breakfast or brunch meal. And I know, like I have memorized the recipes. I have several recipes. I've tried everything, but I can never get the poached eggs right. It's just, I can't. And also golf is a brilliant example, where people, they know exactly, they need to bend their head, they bend the knees, look down, and then swing with the whole body. They know it. And maybe step by step they can do it. But when they swing, the legs stretch, the head goes backwards, it doesn't work. And so sometimes we need to understand this, that people have a hard time. Even at the gymnasium, at high school, I had this German teacher, and he taught us how to pronunciate things. And he knew where to put the tongue for every pronunciation. Like he had a doctor in this. But he grew up in Germany, and for some things it was impossible for him to pronunciate. Even though he knew everything about it, he could teach other people to do it, but he was unable to do it himself. So it's an important lesson to understand and remember that sometimes people have a hard time even though the knowledge is there. Once again, patience is key when you want someone else to make a change, and also for yourself. Reinforcements to sustain a change. We know that if we do not reinforce a change, we will slide back into what we used to know. There are certainly factors that help us make sure that a change sticks. One of these things is accountability. Have an accountability partner. I don't know if you know of the High Noon program. They always use accountability partners. They emphasize this so much because they want people to live healthy, successful lives. And to do that, we need to make changes. And how do we sustain that change? We have someone that asks you, hey, Jeanette, how was your week? Did it go all right? And Jeanette goes, oh, yeah, actually, it wasn't great this week. Or maybe it was great this week. But to have someone, because Jeanette knows that Hans Futsch is going to ask Jeanette every Sunday during Fika, how's this week been? How's your change going? And so Jeanette knows this throughout the week that, oh, Hans is going to ask me. It's like a buffer. Another factor is absence of negative consequences. So if you don't apply the change, what happens? If nothing happens, that's not good. There needs to be something bad that happens. It doesn't have to be a huge thing. Maybe it's just the accountability partner Hans that he tells Jeanette, that was not good. That's a negative consequence. And then we have recognition of progress. So when we actually apply this change, when we do something good, this needs to be awarded, told, Jeanette, you did good this week. Good for you. I'm proud of you. And I personally consider reinforcements the most difficult step. Because comfort is such a powerful thing. And it actually takes more glucose in the brain to do something that we haven't done before compared to something we already know. It is our natural tendency to go back to what we like, to what we know. And that's why reinforcement is so important. Because we can spend all this time and then just fall back. And it was for nothing. But the reinforcement needs to be genuine. It needs to be authentic. Because let's say Jeanette, she goes back to Hans and she says, well, my week was okay. I didn't slip, or I didn't go back to my process, but I didn't really apply the change. And Hans says, amazing, Jeanette, you are incredible. You are the best person I know. And Jeanette goes, but I didn't really feel like I did good this week. So how genuine is that positive feedback? Also doesn't help. If anything, it's the opposite. And so when we do this, reinforcements, more than the other step, it really needs to be authentic and genuine. Because this is the hardest step. And so if we give tickets to a Djurgården football game, maybe we give it to Lawrence or Johan, because they appreciate this. If you give it to me, I think, okay, it doesn't help me. I don't care. So when we do this, be genuine about it. Don't fake it. Don't force it. So this is the ADKAR model. 5 steps. Let's try working from behind. Can we reinforce something that we're not practicing, that we're not applying? No. What is there to reinforce? Can we practice something we don't understand? We don't have the knowledge to do so? No. We can't use the dishwasher if we don't know what to press, how to use it. We can put the dishes in there, but if we don't know how to turn it on, the dishes ain't gonna be clean. How about knowledge? If we don't have the desire to learn something, will we learn it? If I gave the DP to Peter and I say, Peter, read it. Is he going to read it? He's not. Or maybe he might read the DP, but let's take another book. let's take this ADKAR book. There's actually a book, I read it at work. Incredible, I got paid to prepare this sermon. He's not going to read it because he doesn't care. And so, is someone gonna feel motivated to do something if they don't really understand why they should do something? No, because they need the awareness. And people often skip this step. The first 2, they're the most basic ones. Mom comes home and says, we bought a dishwasher. We should use it. Why? I like you doing the dishes. I don't understand the problem. I don't understand the problem here. And maybe I'm so inspired about this change, and I go to Peter, well, let's do this change. And Peter goes, why? And maybe I'm so busy I run away. He doesn't understand what it is. Or maybe we fight about it. I'm so frustrated. Peter comes to my place and he doesn't give me a massage. And we have a fight. And I say, Peter, you should give me a massage. And he's like, no, I shouldn't. But Peter needs to understand why, for him to have the desire, to even want to learn how to give a massage to me properly, and then actually do the massage, and reinforce the massage. So that's the ADKAR model. And now I'm going to open up, if you have any questions. Yes, Peter.
Do you have any examples where you apply all of these?
If I have an example where I apply all of the ADKAR models? Yes, at work, because we use this model. So basically, the latest example was that we have a daily management at work. And so we help teams get goals for what to achieve every day. So if they're red, they need to take an action. And they need to work on this. We have a board. And they need to fill out things. And that's work for them. And they have so many things to do. But the problem is that they have so many things to do. And using this board, aligning the team on the goals we need for every day, that helps them. But if they don't understand that they need to fill out, they need to make the effort to collect the data on what they're doing and fill it out in this board, and they come to this meeting and they're not prepared, they're not going to do it. So what we first do, we explain to them, you have processes that don't work. Is that correct? Yes. So what processes don't work? And they say, this is not good, this is not good, and we often make mistakes here. So we get them to get the awareness that something that they're doing is not working as it should. And then we get, okay, well, maybe we can change that. You can change it. We give them responsibility. Who doesn't want to change their work, have an impact? So we build that desire in them so that they want to improve their work. Because if they improve their work, there are less injuries, they can have longer breaks. Because they're more efficient, right? They have more time. Maybe they can go home earlier. Big motivating factor. And then we have the knowledge. We give them the knowledge. They are here. What do they need to get to the next step? They apply it. And then filling it in is reinforcing it. Do we have another question? Mikael?
If you don't have an ADKAR team at home coaching you, and you feel the knowledge part is overwhelming,
Yes.
what?
So the question is, if you don't have an ADKAR team at home and the knowledge part is overwhelming, what is the knowledge part?
Are you asking me?
Yes?
Well, I mean, it could be a manual. It could be a 200-page manual for something new?
Well, so let's say Mikael has bought a new TV and he has this manual to set up this TV. And this manual is too long, he's not going to invest time to learn the knowledge. The knowledge is there, but he doesn't have the knowledge yet because he needs to read this booklet to understand how to set up the TV.
And awareness and desire is probably there.
That's the thing. Why do you need a TV? Why? What's the problem? You can't watch the news in the morning? Maybe that's the reason. So you bought the TV to watch the news. That's the why. The things that needs to change. And the desire is what's in it for you. You get to watch the news in the morning. You get to have this TV, you can have movie nights. And then, if you have the desire, well, you're going to go through that booklet. And if you don't have enough desire, you're not going to go through the booklet.
So it's a matter of strengthening desire.
Yes. So another question.
Yes, I have a question about if it's about a group.
Yes.
Like you say at the workplace,
Yes.
and not everybody are motivated. So, for example, it's a 4-person group, and 3 want the change, but now the 4th one, how can you do it?
So the question is,
The 4th, or how
I'll repeat the question. The question is, there are 4 people at work, 3 people they want to change, but the 4th person doesn't. How can you get this 4th person to be inspired to make this change? Well, does the 4th person understand the problem?
I don't know, I just say, do you have like something?
Well, the thing is, yeah. So this is the ADCAR, and to really understand ADCAR, there we have like a week-long workshop with professionals. So this is a very summarized sermon. But when you look at the ADCAR, you don't need to be an expert to understand that people are not going to have desire if they don't understand the problem. So let's say there's the 4th person on the team who doesn't want to change. Why? Do they understand the problem? Probably not. And who knows, maybe they're afraid of what the consequences of making this change. Well, somehow you need to bridge that. You need to come back to their level. Because often we see things from our perspective. Because our perspective is so logical. That's what I think, anyways. We need to, yes?
Jag har lite filosofisk kommentar om det.
So a philosophical comment.
Enligt filosofin finns 2 olika förändringar. Först kvantitet och kvalitet.
So according to theory, there are about change, there are 2 different kinds of change, quantity and qualitative.
När det gäller människan, kvalitetsförändring har mycket starkt samband med identitet.
So when it comes to, what was it, qualitative changes?
Kvalitetsförändring har mycket stort samband med identitet.
So when it comes to qualitative changes, it has a lot to do with identity.
Ens identitet är de här egenskaperna som gör den människan är annorlunda från de andra.
And so this qualitative approach basically means that it highlights the identity of each person.
Och filosofer diskuterar om förändring, kvalitetsförändring och identitet, och hur kan man analysera sambandet med dem?
So researchers are looking at the people in here are going to hear how I don't translate this correctly, but the alignment between the individual and how to breach this.
De ser ett exempel. Vi har en båt gjord av trä, och båten är gammal. Och ibland det blir roten och sådana saker. Vi byter, varje period vi byter en liten del av den här båten.
Okay, so the researchers have an example of a boat, an old boat, and each person that uses this boat, they make a personal change to this boat.
Efter ett år till exempel,
After 1 year,
han har bytt alla delar.
all the parts have been changed in the boat.
Båten är samma båt som förra året,
Is it the same boat as before, or is it a new boat?
När det gäller människan, det är mycket viktigt att man ändrar med kvalitetsförändring.
Yeah, so for if we make a change, we need to understand that the individual aspect is very important. But I think we're drifting a bit from the sermon. I'm going to move on here. But thank you for that. That's very nice. So I think I'm going to conclude with a quote from a true father. Because we have to change. But how we change, we can impact. So anything in life has to grow. Stagnation is the beginning of death. So it's inevitable. So, with that, I thank you all for listening, and I wish you all a fantastic week. Thank you.